This is the live podcast with Manuel, living in full expression.
So for me, don't be diplomatic. Don't try to please people. What I would have told myself is, don't please people. Don't be diplomatic. If this is what you want, and you are convinced this is the way, put your all into it and go for it.
You're welcome to the podcast today with me, your host Manuel. And in today's episode, I have someone who has been a friend to me, and I've known him for over 2 years now, and we've been having great time together. And his name is Fola. I call him Fola in short because that's one of the ways I relate with him. So Fola is going to be sharing with us his journey and his story and how he has been able to navigate challenges and is able to do great things for himself, his family, and a lot of things has been going on for him. So today he's going to be inspiring us with his story. So, Fola, it's good to have you on the call today.
Good to be here today. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. So just in a way to tell our audience about who you are, can you just give us a little background of who Afolabi Babarinde is?
Okay, my name is Afolabi Babarinde, and I'm the last from a family of 6 kids. I've got 3 brothers and 2 sisters. I'm from Nigeria, as you can see from the name, and we're from Osun State. Growing up was quite humble. I wouldn't say we are poor. We are not poor, but I mean, my parents were not extremely rich. We are just like the normal middle class family in Nigeria, and we could afford some things. We couldn't afford some things. So it's more like what you see in an average Nigerian family. But growing up, one thing our parents instilled in us then was for you to be independent. We've always been independent growing up, all of us, and we started by going to boarding house. None of us could at home. So, and you know the way it is in the boarding house, you're on your own, you're independent. Even though I joined very early because I went to the boarding house as early as maybe when I was in primary 2 or primary 3. I really can't remember, and I've always been in the boarding house. I would say the only time I didn't stay in the boarding house was when I was in SS3. That was when you were going to write your final exams, and I didn't stay in the boarding house then because situation changed at home. And even though my parents wanted me to stay in the boarding house, but I understood that things are not the way it was when we were growing up. And I just felt I'm better off staying there. And we just try to make things happen for ourselves. I get to see my siblings whenever we are home on holidays. And it was quite funny that even at times we might not see ourselves maybe for like 8 to 9 months, because I would say it's just me and my immediate elder brother that were fortunate to go to private school, even though my parents could afford to send others to private school, but he chose to put them in the government school. And the government school then were so good. I mean, they were really, really good, because I could remember that growing up in all those competitions, you go for national competitions, regional competition, the government school were always coming out top. They were always flooring the private school. But when we started growing up, things started declining like a little deep in the government school. But they've been there for a while. So my dad left them there. And at times, government school would be on strike, private school would not be on strike. So we would be on our normal calendar, we'll be at home. My siblings will probably be in school. When we are in school, they are at home. So it's at times we don't get to see ourselves quite often during the year, but it has its own good parts and its negative parts. But we thank God that everybody's doing fine, and that has built some level of self, I would say self confidence and ability for you to stand on your own, to depend on your own without relying on people so much. So that's just a bit about my background.
Interesting. So I just love the part where you talked about being independent. And from the little I know about you, back home in Nigeria, what were the first steps you took as a person, as a young person, to begin to show this level of independence you have? Because I'm sure there was a time you decided to take a leap to say, now I want to do things on my own. At what stage did you do that, and what was the big thing you did that you were proud of then?
Well, I would say it started quite early for me, and I would say it started when I was in my GS3 going to SS1. Because then it's always been when you get to that stage, you all go to science class. And I did well in my junior WAHEC, the way we'll call it back home. I did well. I would say I had one of the best results amongst my siblings, even in the school. I would say I was probably around maybe the top 10 or top 15 out of over 100 students. So my result could get me into science class. And I actually was in science class, but I didn't want to be in science class. I knew I wasn't going to do science. And my mom, my dad, they knew that this boy would not want to do science. So because the way the school was then, my parents were really close to the administrators. I mean, the vice principal, the school admin, the proprietor. So they just shoved me to science class. I'm like, no, this is not for me. Oh. Me, I wanted to study law. Then I'm like, no, I would love to go to art class. This is not for me. But my parents were like, no, 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 stay in science class. You are good in science. Just stay there. No. So I left it, and I was in science class first time, second time. So third time I just packed my bag. I didn't tell them, and I moved to commercial class. Even though I felt I should have gone to art class, what I wanted myself. But then I was just like, if I can't have this, then I won't do science. Then let me go and do something else. So I moved to commercial class, and it was a bit of struggle because I'd missed a lot. You know, they've done first time, they've done second time. I joined them at third time. And I remember when I moved, the school vice principal then, she was like, are you sure? How do you think your mom would take this? I'm like, she'll be all right. She'll be fine. There's nothing I can do about it. Well, this is not for me. And I moved there. I struggled a bit during that period, SS1, because I'd missed a lot and I had to read, try my best. Fortunately, I was able to scale through. I didn't do so well, but I was able to scale through. And that was when I knew I'm a bit different from all my siblings. And the other instance was when I told my parents I don't want to stay in the boarding house anymore, that for this SS3, I would love to stay off school. My dad was very reluctant about it. Even though I was gonna stay with a family friend, I was gonna stay with one of his friends. And I wouldn't call the family a family friend. I'll probably call them a family because we've known each other for a very long time. I mean, the kids, we all grew up together and everything. So my dad was like, no, just stay there. It's just 1 year, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, no, I'm not staying. I'm not staying. After a while, he gave up and I stayed with the family. Was it comfortable? No, because it's a large family and we have to share a lot of things. But for someone coming from boarding house where you have your things to yourself, it was a bit different. I knew I wanted to experience something different. And that was why I opted for let me just stay there. And I stayed there 1 year. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It wasn't extremely comfortable, but you know, kids, we really don't care. And boys don't pay attention to a lot of things. We just want to get going. And fortunately for me, most of your kids are boys. They've only got three girls and they were in the uni then. So it was just boys at home, and all of us we played together, we rode together, we go to school
Mm,
together. In fact, we all went to the same university, which was more of a coincidence, and we all stay in the same room in uni as well. But
wow.
that was when I knew I my path is quite different from my other siblings. And ever since that I've always been on my own, try to do my things myself and try to sort things out myself. It was probably when I was in my final year in uni that I started sharing my my thoughts with my siblings, especially my sister. I'm like, do you think this is it, or do you think I should try something else? And that was when I would say I probably enjoy having this sibling relationship. Even my immediate elder brother, that we were in the same secondary school, most people did not know that he is my brother. Most people did not know, because most times when we see ourselves in school, we don't even talk to ourselves. We just be like, guy, alpha, guy, and we all moved on. Not that we don't like ourselves, but it was
Yeah.
just the way we were taught that don't depend on anybody. You are here to make things
Mm-hmm.
for yourself. Try and get things sorted out on your own. I mean, if there is an help coming from somewhere, fantastic, you can take it. But don't think that I have somebody somewhere that will come and save me. Nobody's coming to save you. You you have to save yourself. And it has always been like that. And I mean, it's good. Is it perfect? No. But is it okay? I would say it's good, honestly. But it's not perfect. That's the way I would put it.
Interesting. Okay, so after uni, you started your life. How did you transition to being on your own? What was the first thing you did? What stories behind that?
After uni, it was a bit tough. It was a bit tough because going to uni, I felt I shouldn't have gone to uni when I did, and I'll tell you why. I was quite young when I go into uni. I wasn't even 17 then when I go into uni, and I went to a federal university, University of Ilorin, and then it was hell to get admission. It was during our set that they started post UME. I was one of the first set of students that did post UME then, and I did it. I passed. I passed post UME. I made the cutoff for JAM. But I got to uni. It took a while for me to realize that I was in the uni. And you coming out of secondary school and getting to uni immediately. For some
Yeah.
people, it worked out well for them. But I would say then maybe I wasn't matured enough
Hmm.
intellectually or as a person. So I struggled a little bit. At times in class, you get into the class and I'll still think, oh, it's the way we did it in secondary school, that the teacher would come forward, they write it on the board. And at times, how it
Hmm.
is back at home in the private uni. I mean, in the federal universities, you get into a class and you're probably like 800 students
Yeah.
in the class, and at times you won't even get a seat. The people at the back will not even hear what's going on. You won't hear anything. Good 100 level, it was a struggle. 200 level, it was a struggle. But 300 level, I started picking up gradually. But it was a bit late. But we managed it, and I scaled through. And after I finished, I sat down and I was thinking about my life. I didn't have the result I wanted, and I knew I'm better than what I got. But nevertheless, it was still my result, and it will be my result. So I sat down, I went for the youth service, and during my youth service, I was just thinking, what can I do? What can I do? I'm forward thinking a little bit. I like to preempt things before they happen. So I was thinking, what can I do? How do I go about this? And I told my sister, like, oh, this is it, oh, this is what I'm facing. Like, how do I go about it and everything? And she was like, don't worry, don't think about it yet. Finish your 1 year youth service. Enjoy yourself. Try and enjoy the environment. Then after your service, just come home. And I remember that when I finished service, I wanted to go back to Oshobo because my parents lived in Oshobo and they are still there to this moment. And I called my sister like, sis, I'm going to Oshobo. And she was like, no, 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 don't go to Oshobo. Just come to Lagos. Lagos. I'm not the Lagos person. No. I've only been to Lagos visiting and I'll go back because I just don't like the chaos. Whenever I go there, I don't like the chaos. Like, no, this is too chaotic and I don't want to be here. So I went home. When I got home, my dad is a very brilliant man. is the type that would buy newspaper every day and make sure he reads everything from cover to cover. And when he's done reading it, he will pass it to you for you to read. And stylishly, he would sit with you maybe later in the day and start discussing what was in the paper. He won't ask you direct question, but he wants to know your opinion, whether you actually read this thing or not. So I got to him. He was like, maybe you should go and do this. Maybe you should go and do a postgraduate diploma, or you should go and do a master's, blah blah blah. In my mind, everything he was saying was not entering my head, because I knew I don't want to go to school at that point. Because at that point, I wanted to figure out, who am I? Like, what can I do for myself? I've been trying to make things work for myself, but I believe I've gotten to a point in life where at this stage, you are no longer a kid. I mean, after uni, I was probably maybe 20 then, so probably maybe 20 or 21. I don't think I was 21 then. After my NYC, I was probably 20 then. I mean, I was very young, but in my mind, I knew two things. I knew I wasn't going to stay in Oshobo, but at the same time, I don't want to go to Lagos. And my parents would not want me to go to a place where they have nobody. And if I told my dad then, like, okay, let me go back to school, it would ship me back to Ilorin. But going to Ilorin, I would be on my own. Most of the people I know, like all the friends I've made while I was in school, they've all left. Some of them were in law school then, some of them were serving, some of them have started working somewhere. So my sister called again, like, guy, I've been expecting you. What's going on? Just come now. So I was like, okay, don't worry. I'll come visiting. I'll stay for a few weeks and let's see how it goes. So I came when I got to Lagos. Then it was like, there's a job going on at her husband's office. That will I put in for the job? It was a marketing job, and me, I'm very shy. I can be very quiet. I like, how do you want to face people to start marketing and all those things? But she was like, no, you cannot stay at home. Just do something. Then on the job, we can think of what next to do, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, no problem. So I put in for the job. Fortunately, I was called for the interview and I did well at the interview and they picked me. That was the beginning of my stay in Lagos. So I couldn't leave Lagos anymore. And I started marketing fire systems engineering. And the kind of commodity we are marketing, they are not commodity they will pay 10,000 or 2,000 for. The cheapest service then that we can sell to a client is probably FM200, all these non-destructible fire system where you can put in the ones you can use in a server room, that it's more of chemical based and it won't disrupt your routers, your servers, your computer in case of any fire incidents. Most times fire incidents, the sprinkler system will let water out. And on the long run, water will destroy your books, it will destroy your appliance. But FM200 it's a gas that it won't disrupt any of your things. So that was like one of the cheapest item we could sell to anyone. And that alone would cost maybe 5 to 6 or 5 to 10 million, depending on how big the room is. As at then, everything I'm saying now is probably 2012, 2013. So how would someone like me go into a big company and convince their head of engineering or head of IT or even managers that, oh, this is what I'm selling and I want you to buy this? So I struggled a bit. The first 3 months was tough for me. I'm like, God, how do I do this? How do I do this? I'm the type that won't give up. So I kept going, I kept going, I kept going. And the job really helped me. The job built my confidence, because at times you just go into a company that you don't even know anybody there and you have to go there and break grounds. You probably walk there, talk to the receptionist. So I'd love to speak with so and so person. You would have done your own research before leaving in the morning. I mean, you will know where the company is. You would have seen the organogram, know who you could talk to, blah blah blah. And that was how I started it. And fortunately for me, I would say I made the biggest sales out of all the salespersons they had in the office there before I left the job. So the job really built my confidence and made me believe more in myself. But it got to a point, private companies now, the owners of the company started misbehaving, probably beholding salaries and wouldn't pay on time and all those things. So I just felt I've done my fair share, Jerry. Let me leave. Actually, when I left then, I did not leave because I had something else to do. I left because I wanted to go back to school. So I left to go and write JAMB and write GC again. And in my GC, I did more of art subjects, and in my JAMB, I did art subjects. And fortunately for me, I passed. Even I did well in the JAMB than when I was actually meant to write the exam. And all these ones I studied on my own. I didn't go to any lesson. I didn't go to any school because I felt, Abba, you've been to uni now. What this is, it should be something you can
No, you're right.
just dust off and move on with your life, which I did. I passed and I put in for the admission, but I didn't get the admission.
Yeah.
It was painful,
Yeah.
but I just moved on with my life. I'm like, maybe that is not meant for me. I moved on with my life. I'd lost the job because I'd resigned. I had no job again. But fortunately for me, while on the job, I had some savings. I think I had maybe like 150,000 naira then, or 120,000. I'm not sure. That was 2013. Yeah.
That was
So
like, that was
I had, and then that was a lot
15,
of money.
16,
It was a lot of
2012.
money then in Nigeria. So I was thinking that what can I do? What can I do? Like, the money is there. What can I do with this money? I knew that if I spent this money, there's nothing else for me. I mean, I have a roof over my head. If I was living with my sister there, she will feed me. But for me, I wouldn't have money to probably recharge my phone or go out if I need to, or do things I would
Yeah.
love to do for myself. So I bought Okada, what we call motorcycle, because where we were staying in Lagos, we had a lot of people from the north, the Hausa guys that would come around. Most of them, they have nothing doing. And fortunately, there was a malam in our house. The house then, the house is a massive house, like it's a single story building, because we live at the top, but the ground floor was really, really, I mean, it's really, really massive. It was partitioned into several flats. So we had a lot of people staying on the ground floor. I think we had like 3 families staying on the ground floor.
Yeah.
But on the top floor, it was my sister and her husband with the landlord. But fortunately for us, the landlord doesn't live in the house. The landlord is a traditional ruler in one of the villages in Kwara State. So he only comes around once in a while. But he left that place for himself. So we had a lot of Hausa guys. We only had one Hausa guy as a
I
gate
see.
man. But someone brought him. And the person that brought him lives in that house as well. He stays in the BK. He's an Hausa guy. So they all respect him. Because it's like we call him Malam. So all those Hausa guys, they always come around. So most times, if you come into the compound, it's a massive compound. You can see maybe like 12 or 13 of them just chilling in the compound. So they all come, they park their bikes and wash it in the compound, leave it in the compound. So I spoke to the man. I'm like, I have a bike. Oh, can you get me someone who can ride this bike and be delivering for me? So the man was like, no problem. I will sort it out, blah, blah, blah. Before I knew it, he brought someone. And the guy started riding the bike. And the guy, to be frank with you, the guy was sincere. He was faithful. Every week, he would come back with, I think he was giving me maybe like 4K weekly then. And that was a lot of money. The business was good. I was already planning on buying a second bike so I
Wow.
can get someone else to start riding. So yeah, so at least I'll probably be making 8K weekly. And with that 8K, I can think of what to do with myself and know that so I can take whatsoever risk I wanted to take there. Few weeks after buying the Okada, or maybe like after 6 weeks after buying the Okada, Lagos State government just woke up one day and banned motorcycles in Lagos. And that was the end of that business. So when they banned motorcycles, the guy will still go out, risk it. Nigerians, we know the air word. The guy will still go out, risk it, bring money back. I just woke up one day and I'm like, this guy can just wake up one day and say, so they've seized the bike and there's nothing I can do about it. Because actually they were seizing bike then, impounding bikes and destroying them. So I spoke to the guy, I'm like, are you willing to buy this thing that I'm ready to sell it for you? The guy was so happy, like, he doesn't mind though that he will buy it and
Yeah.
he will go back to the north and start using it there. And I'm like, okay, no problem. You've delivered some money for me, which was good. I'm like, so how much do you have? The guy was like, okay, I know to get money. Well, I have 40,000. Like, no, I won't sell it for 40,000. Go and bring 60,000 out and you can have the bike. And the guy brought 60,000 and he took the bike away. So now there was no business. There was no source of income again. I'm like, God, why this time? Because I started planning on how to have a chain of motorcycle. Then at least if those ones were working and giving me money, I can now face my own life and think of what I can do with my life. But government policy took the business away, and now I'm left with 60,000 and some other change somewhere. And I'm thinking, what can I do with my life? What can I do with my life? And while I was thinking, a family friend came to the house, one of my sister's friend. We've always been very close with the family. She came to the house and she just got married and she showed me a photo album. Like, this is nice, this is nice. And she was like, oh, that's photography is so expensive that the guy that took those pictures for them then collected 120K. And I was like, for what? It's not to just snap. Like, fortunately for me, my sister was working with a magazine company. She was the editor of a magazine then, and they normally go for photo shoots. Though I do follow her, but I never got involved in the in the figures and everything, like how much were you paying? And when she mentioned that, I'm like, so there is money in this photography of a thing. I'm like, no problem. Then the following week, because most times she does her photo shoot on Sundays. So the following week on Sunday, I was like, I'll follow you. After church, I have nothing to do at home other than sleep and wake up. Let me just follow you to the studio and let's see what you guys were doing. And I followed him to there's this popular photographer in Lagos then, Kelechi Amadiobi studio. And I was around Kelechi's studio, and Kelechi full of energy and everything. And he was talking. She took some lovely pictures for them. And we left. So when we left, we were going home. She gave me their files and everything. I was going through the file and I saw the invoice and I saw how much Uncle K charged them. And I'm like, is God talking to you? What's going on? So I'm like, okay, no problem. I did not say anything to her. But in my mind, I was thinking like, okay, if I want to do this photography, so how do I go about it? In my mind, I was thinking, I would not say that I love photography, but I was seeing the figures. And in my mind, I'm like, this is good money. As I then, like, it's not something bad. It is good money. Because my mates that were working there, they're probably, the photographers then were probably making their salary on a job. Though I know the job, though I know for some people, that might be one job you will do in the whole month. For some, you might be lucky to do more than that. But they were earning a reasonable living. So I was thinking. So we went to church, and one of the associate pastor in church, just because they knew I wasn't working then. So the man just approached me like, bro, like he has a friend who does photography, but he's in Lagos now and he wants to teach him photography. That would I love to learn? So far, since I'm not doing anything at the moment, that the guy doesn't mind teaching me for free, as in teaching us for free, because he too wanted to learn. I'm like, what kind of coincidence is this? Is this one? Like, maybe God is talking to you to, to do this. And that was how I joined him, and we started. Unfortunately for me,
That's
the friend,
a serious
he
coincidence.
also schooled in Ilorin. We went to the same university, but he was a medical student. He's a doctor. He finished top of his class as one of the best students in their class, but he never practiced medicine. He was doing photography. Yeah, and he was like, and when we got talking, I was like, he finished from there. I'm like, I'm also from Ilorin. I finished from Ilorin too. Like, hey, really? And that was how we connected, and he took me on, and I started working with him. He started
Imagine.
paying me. Even before I knew anything, he employed me. Like, don't worry, you'll be my staff. And that was how I got something to do, and I've never looked back since then. and we started doing this thing together. And it got to a point I knew I've I've done enough for him.
Wow.
He has done enough for me. And I just felt, so it's time to be on my own. And I told him, like, I would love to be on my own at this point. And he was so happy. Even he bought my first camera for me. He bought so many things for me. And that was how I started. And that was all I was doing
Yeah.
in Lagos before I left Lagos and moved to the UK. Even though while I was doing that, I worked with some other people, like just to manage stuff for them, but I was still doing my own. I was doing my own thing, and I was still working for those people too, because I've always believed in having stream of incomes. I don't believe in having one stream of income. I mean, in an industry, you can have two stream of income in an industry, and that was what I exploited, and that was it. And I mean, it was all
Yeah.
right. After a while, I moved out of my sister's house.
Mm.
I got a place for myself, and everything was good.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that rosy. It was a little bit tough. And while on the job, I met my wife. And we we got married
Wow.
years after. Because then she was in the uni then. I think probably maybe she was in her
Yeah.
final year or in
Yeah.
her third year in the uni. And I told myself, no, I
Interesting.
won't date a student because I was still struggling. I was
Interesting.
just about getting my foot. And you dating a student, that will cost you a lot of a lot of resources. So that's a lot. And I just told myself no. And I waited for her to finish. And fortunately,
Yeah.
nobody was running after her then. And she finished, and that was how we started. And years
That's a lot.
after we got
That's a
married,
lot.
and we moved on. Hmm.
That's interesting. So looking at this journey that you've had, what big lesson
My biggest lesson
did you
would be
learn that has
self-completion.
carried you? Because I'm going to go through the next phase, but I
I
want
knew
you
what
to
I
share
wanted
with us what's the
then,
biggest lesson for you with all
but
you went through?
I needed a confirmation from someone or somewhere, or from I just needed something to put my mind at peace that, oh, this is the right thing you're doing. And I experienced that when I wanted to do photography. Someone who did not know what I had in mind just walked up to me and like, so and so person is coming, and do you are you interested? And guess what? Till date, that person did not do photography. He did not. He did not practice photography. So I believe that that situation was orchestrated for me, not even for him. And I've always believed in don't think anybody will come here to help you. There's no help coming from anywhere. If the help comes, fine. If it doesn't come, try and sort your things out yourself. And those are the two things I've held on to, and it has brought me to where I am today.
To help you.
And another thing is I tried not to follow trend. I tried to do my things my way. It might be because of the experience I've had growing up or what I've seen in my short life. But I've always believed
Interesting.
in being unique and being true to yourself. Don't follow the trend. I mean, the trend might be this is it, but it might not be for you. And that has really, really worked for me till date. Yeah. Okay. So the UK was not in the picture.
So you moved from
To be frank with you,
your
it wasn't in the
father's
picture for
house
me.
to Lagos to
Then
being on your
I
own.
I
And you
wanted
mentioned being in the
to move to
UK. So
Canada.
how did that journey happen for you?
Even I wasn't married when I started this Canada journey issue, because I'm fortunate to have good people good people around me. I've been blessed with the gift of men, and I won't deny that. I met a big brother. who, He's not my age mate. He's way, way advanced. But he took me as a brother. I met him while I was doing photography. He would come to the studio where I worked. He would come there and interact with the photographers and the established names then, because they always come around. He saw me and he picked a liking in me, and like, come now, come to my house, blah blah blah. And I wasn't convinced to go to his house. I'm like, okay, I will find time to come. And I did not show up. I did not go to his house. First year, second year, I did not. I didn't keep in touch. And unfortunately for me, I was leaving church one day, and he saw me on the road, not knowing that he lives maybe like 2 streets away from my church. I'm like, you this boy, I've been trying to get hold of you. Where have you been? I'm like, I'm here. And that was how he dragged me to his house. And I got to his house, and he started talking. He showed me some pictures he took, and he was having issues with them. I'm like, oh, can you help me sort it out? I'm
I
like,
see.
no problem. And I did everything for him, and I left. And ever since then, if he has anything to do, he will always call me. Afolabi, where are you? Come to the house. You are in church. I know you're in church. When you leave church, come to the house. So I was at his house one day, and he told me like the family would be moving to Canada. I'm like, Canada, you are very rich now. Why are you going to Canada? Because he was a CFO in a very big company in Nigeria. The wife was a manager at is it Federal Mortgage Bank? I can't remember the name. One of those big mortgage bank back home. And they were doing fine. I was like he just felt it's time to move on. Like he wants his kid. They had their kids in abroad. They had them. I think the first daughter was in the US. The second one was in Canada, and he was like, he will be moving on. And I asked him like when. It's like
Yeah.
like maybe in the next 3 or 4 months that they will be moving. And on that day, he took me to one of his friend's house, and the friend was leaving for Canada that day. So we went there to help him pack and everything. And that was how they planted the seed of going abroad in me. And I struggled with it. I told him like, I don't have the resources to travel abroad. This small money that I have in this Lagos, I just want to do my business, enjoy my life, and sleep. Because I know going abroad is very expensive. And he was like, no, it's not expensive. I can put you through, blah, blah, blah. I was very, very reluctant about it. And his wife was like, okay, let me show you. Just try it. If it works out, fine. Go. If it doesn't work out, then at least you're not losing anything. You stay back and continue your business. And that was how we started. I started gathering documents. I had to go and do another diploma for me to have two certificates, like 2 degrees, so I could stand a better chance. And I did everything. I was writing IELTS then. I think I've done IELTS twice, and I was missing out. I wasn't getting the right point I wanted. And while on that, my girlfriend, who is my wife now, just wake up someday and said, "Oh, she wants to go and school in the UK." And I looked at her like, "Is this girl all right?" Because I know it's expensive. I know it's not cheap, and I know the kind of family she has. And she was working then. She was working with Nestle then, but she wasn't a full staff. She wasn't a full staff. She was a contract staff, and I know her salary. And even me, I was earning more than her
Yeah.
salary. And me that I'm earning more than her salary, so I couldn't say I want to go to school abroad. I didn't have the courage. Okay.
Contract
But
staff.
for me, I don't like discouraging people. So far you are convinced that this is what you want to do, I will encourage you. I won't want to I won't want to discourage you. And
What are the
I told her
courage
one
to
thing,
say?
like,
Yeah.
if you can do this one thing, I will support you throughout this journey. Go and write out the step. List out everything you need to do and the figures,
Yeah.
I mean the price, what will cost you to do all those things. And she reluctantly she did it, because my wife, she's not as detailed as I am. Even she did not do it in details. And I'm like, okay, I know it's a lot of money. If you are looking at the grand total, you will be overwhelmed. Like, how do I want to raise maybe 10 million naira as a then? Because 10 million naira then was a whole lot of money. Like, do I want to raise that? I'm like, no, don't look at the grand total. Break everything down into stage. What do I need to do now? And how much will it cost me? And that was how we started. She did the first thing, and somehow we were able to gather the money.
Yeah.
I mean, family and friends contributed our own savings, the little I could drop, and everything. And she left the country. In fact, she left the country the day we got married. We got married in the morning. She left in the evening, and She left the country, and I was on my own. No honeymoon, nothing. No honeymoon. And she left the country, and I said that I wasn't going to follow trend. That I don't like
Wonderful.
following trend. And when we wanted to
Not
get married, even
for
before
honeymoon,
traveling or
nothing.
no traveling, I told her that I
Bros,
want something
that's a
really small.
serious matter.
Maybe because of what I've seen in the course of my job. Because I just noticed, why would you call 500,
Yeah.
1,000 people, feed all of them, and at the end of the day, you're struggling? I mean, if I have the small money that I have, why don't I just do something small and use that money to live my life afterwards, rather
Yeah.
than spending everything that one day, or because I want to impress people that I don't even know half of them, or people that don't even care about you? Because most of the guests on that day are your parents' guests. You don't even know them. You don't even have relationship with them.
Mm-hmm.
And when I told her that, she struggled with it a little bit, but later on, she came back to realize that maybe there is sense in what I was saying then. And everything we spent on our wedding, I keep telling people, it wasn't up to £100. It's probably everything we spent was around maybe 250,000 naira.
Yeah. Yeah.
We only did court wedding. And it was that expensive because I bought a gold ring and her clothes, the clothes she wore for the wedding. I didn't even buy
Really?
anything for myself because I'd done best man for a friend of mine a month or two later on.
But was it
Before
was it
then.
white wedding and
I'm like,
traditional or
nobody
just
cares. I just put on the the suit we used, and I went for the wedding, and that was it. And that helped us because we could save a whole lot of money for her to come to the UK, and we just channeled all the funds
mm,
towards that. But nevertheless, if coming to the UK was not in the
yeah.
picture, I would have done the same thing because I'd seen people run into debt after weddings. I'd seen people struggle after wedding. And on their wedding, they spent
Yeah.
millions of naira. And I just feel it's peer pressure. You're just spending money to impress people who don't care about you. And it's peer pressure in the sense that my friend did this during her own. I must outdo her, blah blah blah. No, and it's normal.
Mm,
It's your day. You want to enjoy it. But my concern is it worth it? Enjoying that day alone and suffering for the rest of your life. I know people will disagree with me, but it's just my own opinion.
mm,
We did it with the way we did it, and we've been fine. Do
yeah.
we have our own struggles? Yes, we do. Would if we had spent so much on the wedding, are we going to be where we are today? I would say no. Even after the whole wedding, when she left the country, I think she left February. I stayed back till August because I was broke then. I'd spent all the money I had on me. So I needed to gather some funds. And fortunately, my family came through. They gave me a huge sum of money and I left August. But if we had spent so much on the wedding, I'm not sure we would be here today. We'll probably still be in Lagos, or we are still struggling to get to where we are today. It was tough. Oh. It was tough.
So coming to the UK,
The first six
she
to
came before
six
you and
to
you
seven
joined
months
her.
was really tough.
So how were you able
In
to
the sense that I've
navigate the new
I've always done
environment? So
jobs that are
share
not
with us the
demanding
story
physically.
behind you.
But when I got here, the job I got was extremely demanding. I mean, physically, it was a physically intensive job. And because I came in during the lockdown, during COVID. There was COVID then. So when I came in August and I had to isolate for 2 weeks. During my isolation, someone told her, oh, there's a job going in so and so place, and the place is a factory, and she brought the form home for me to fill, and I was I was a bit reluctant, but I knew that I just have to do it. I mean, you need money to survive. And fortunately for me, she had saved up some money. She has paid a lot from her school fees. So the pressure wasn't that much. Where we were staying then, before I left the country, I'd given her some money and she had paid like 2 months advance rent. So the pressure wasn't there. But at the same time, I had stayed at home for 2 weeks. I was bored because you had to isolate for 2 weeks then. I was bored staying at home. I wanted to do something. Let me just do something. Go out, have an excuse to leave the house, explore the environment and everything. And that was how I started working at the factory. I've never done something that demanded in my life. It was tough. You're lifting stuff, you're carrying stuff, you're working in the cold because they have to keep the environment cold because of the kind of things we produce. I mean, we're dealing with stuff that needs to be kept cold so they don't go bad. It was demanding. I would get home. At times I would get home, I would just lie down. I won't be able to say a word. My fingers were gone. Like, but I just had to do it because
Yeah.
I mean she has set a precedent that I cannot
Yeah.
go below that. She has achieved a lot to come, having to pay so much from your school fees, having to save so much just for me to come in. It won't be wise for me to come in and not do anything and be very picky with jobs. Like, oh, I don't want this job. This is what I want. It was just a way for me to appreciate everything she has done and to support her. And I kid in, I
Mm.
started doing it. I was doing it. While I was doing it, I was applying for other jobs. I was doing it. I was doing it. I mean, I'll get tired. The people I met there, I mean, people like me that I
Mm.
met there, immigrants like me that I met there, they were working there. People would say, "Oh, you are very lazy. You don't do overtime that much. You don't do this. You don't go on weekends. Even if you come on Saturday, you leave 12 o'clock." And in my mind, I'm like, well, people will talk no matter what you do. But at least the little I'm doing, I'm earning what is enough for me and my family. And we are not begging. So the rest, I leave it for you guys. You do it. I'm not under pressure to build mansion back home. Or I'm not under pressure to impress people back home that have made money. I kept at it. I was doing it. We were fine, we were okay, and I was applying for other jobs. And while I was doing it, I got another job.
Mm.
And I'll go to work, I'll come back to do interviews. At times I'll take leave from work, from the job in the factory, just to attend interviews. At times I have to close early just to have attend interview. It was a bit difficult because it became a clash between me and my land manager. They had already planned the shifts. These are the number of people that will be on the line, and these are the expected
Mhm.
results, what they were looking for at the end of the day. But because one person was leaving or would not turn up, that would affect their own deliverable. And it became an issue. The clash was getting too much. I knew that on the long run,
Yeah.
I would have to leave. But before I left, I made sure that I'd secured a job elsewhere. So the other job I got,
Mm.
the salary was not even up to what I was earning at the factory. In fact, the salary was almost 1,000 less of what I was earning at the factory. So I was losing a lot. But I knew I couldn't continue at the factory because it was telling on my health. I wasn't myself anymore. Like, I wasn't feeling all right. I was just doing it for doing sake. So at the point, I'm like,
I
my
see.
health is more important to me than all these things. So I left and I was hoping to get called to start the job, but they never called me to start the job. So while I was waiting, I just had to go and do something else. And we started doing support, started doing care and all those things. And I was doing it. It was better than working in the cold. I mean, that one too had its own downside, but I was able to manage and cope with that one, and it was better than. I mean, it is better than lifting heavy items or working in a freezer or working in a very cold environment. And I carried on. I carried on. At a point, I got tired of it as well. I'm like, no, I'm tired of this job. Then the job I thought I had secured somewhere, I started calling them like, when am I starting this job? You've given me letter of employment. You've done all the checks. You've done everything. But you
Yeah.
haven't called me to start. When am I starting? They were giving me some sort of excuse. Oh, we are in a down period now. It's very quiet now. Blah blah blah. I'm like, but you've asked me to come. Unfortunately for them, one of the person we did our interview together, she has started, and I'm like, what's delaying my own? So one day, an idea just came to my mind. Like, why don't you send them an email and copy everybody you've spoken to the day you started this job, day you started applying for this job. So I looked into my email trade and I started seeing people I've spoken with concerning the job. Maybe someone that did my interview, or the person that did my documentation, or the department that posted the job, or the HR. I copied all of them in the email and I sent it out. And I was called the following week to come and start the job. I don't know.
Mm.
I really can't say this is it. I don't know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I copied them and we went for the job.
Yeah.
I went to see the matron, who is more or less like the person in charge of the whole service. And I explained my
So what
situation
was
to
keeping
her,
them in
like,
the first place then?
this is it. My visa will be expiring soon and all this thing. And she was like, don't worry, we'll get you a work visa and you carry on with the job. And that was it. And I said something about following trend. While I was applying for this job, people people I work with at the factory, then they were like, guy, you're wasting your time. If you pick this job, you are losing 1,000 because the salary wasn't that much. You're losing 1,000, and you just be
Wow.
there struggling and
That's
everything. And uh, I was just like, I'd rather lose
yeah.
1,000 and do something different from what all of us are doing here, because I know for sure that my health cannot sustain this job. At the point, it's either I leave the job or the job leaves me. So it's better that I'm leaving early when I'm still normal, when I'm still strong. And that was it. And I left. And the funniest thing is, when I left, others, they were saying, why are you leaving? Why are you leaving?
Mm.
A month or two, all of them left.
Exactly.
Imagine. So there
Exactly.
was no point.
Yeah.
And they will leave me behind.
Imagine. So if you had listened to them, yeah, if you had listened to them, you two would have stayed there and they will leave you. So let's talk about the big thing. For like you
If
came, you
it
struggled,
was, I would say,
and today you own a property in the UK.
God was in the picture. You can't
How
take the
did that
God
happen
factor
for
away.
someone
And
who
because if
has
if
these
if
stories to tell
if there is no good
and
health,
is
you
now
would
a
not be able
landlord,
to
not
work
in
and
Nigeria,
save
but
money.
in the UK?
And
How did that happen for
I
you?
believe if God hand was not in it, then it won't materialize. So then, like I said
Yeah.
earlier, I always try to think ahead. Like, I always try to think months or years ahead. Then before we thought of buying a property, we didn't know what next to do, because we didn't have so much information then. But one thing I knew was, just keep saving. When the time comes, you will know what next to do. And I remember that the first or the third week? No, I mean, it was maybe like a month after I got to the UK. We went for a birthday party for a friend's friends at Wolverhampton. We were invited. Luckily, we were invited. And I've met the celebrants in Nigeria before he
Mm.
came to the UK, because he came to Nigeria and I did a job for him. And he liked it. And when he heard I was in the UK, he was like, just come, just come. And we went there. We got talking. And he asked me one question, like, so what's the plan?
Mm.
And I told him, I'm like, bros, I don't know the plan. Honestly, I have nothing in mind. It's a new environment for me. I don't know
Mm.
what's going on yet. I'm still very new. He was like, well, I won't tell you what to do, and I will not tell you this is the plan. But the only advice I can give you is, no matter what you have in your mind, no matter what you have in your mind, no matter what you're thinking of, just keep saving. Just make sure you have savings. Just keep saving. And that was it. And we started saving, we were saving money, we were saving money, even though something would come up somewhere and you'll have to spend the money. But we made sure that we had something saved somewhere. And we carried on with our life. A friend, like a family friend, I'll call them my family because we've known ourselves from Lagos. They are older than me. They came here months ahead of us. Fortunately for them, I mean, they are a family. So the husband's brothers, they've all been here a long time. They're all citizens here. So they have all the informations. They could guide them on what to do. And when they got here, those ones were really helpful to them and they put them through. And within a year after they finished schooling, they were able to buy a property. And he called me like, it was like, Afu, how you doing now? What's going on? You guys should come and spend Christmas with us, blah blah blah. And we went there, and when we got there, he told us the plan, like, oh, we are buying a property soon. I didn't take him serious when he was saying it because he's someone that is very jovial. You would not know when he's serious or when he's joking. I didn't take him serious, like, but my normal self, I congratulated him and I encouraged him, like, bros, it will work out. So if you need anything, let me know. And we moved on. But we've known ourselves for a very long time. We kept in touch, but we never spoke towards the property they were buying. And all of a sudden, one day, he just called me up like, you need some money urgently. Can I raise him? I'm like, how much do you need? He said it. I'm like, okay, no problem. This is when you're giving me. When are you giving me back? Like, I'll return it back to so and so.
Yeah.
I sent him the money, and 3 days after, he called me that, oh, they've gotten a property somewhere in Gloucester. I'm like, like, bro, so you're serious with this thing? Like, we've gotten it. And he put me through how they did it. And he was like, it would be nice if we also work towards getting one anytime soon. And when he said those things, and he said one other thing, like, it was like, at the moment as I am now, like, he was referring to himself like he's totally broke.
Wow.
He doesn't have any money because he has exhausted all his money on buying the property. But he said the only thing he can give me is advice and information. If I need anybody who come to me, I don't have anybody. I'm like, okay, no problem. And he talked about money box and all those things.
Yeah.
And he explained everything to us. And when we got back, I asked my wife, like, do you think we should give it a try? And he said, yes, we should. All the savings we had then, we splitted it into two. We put it in the money box. And as at then, it was around maybe a week to the end of the financial year, probably a week or two to the end of the financial year. And we put it there. And fortunately for us, we got the bonus for that financial year. And we're like, okay, no problem. So as it is now, we've got 10,000. Let's work towards saving more. And we did that again. And we got 20,000 from, because we added 5,000. I mean, we added 4,000 each. And we got 20,000 from extra top up, and we got that as well.
Yeah.
While we were doing that, we started looking for property, and the first mortgage advisor we thought of using, then we were engaging with we saw a property we love. We wanted to buy that property. I mean, nice house.
Yeah. And you go on
It wasn't the
1,000.
best,
Yeah.
but it was
each.
okay. It was good.
Yeah.
And we started talking to her, and she was like, okay, she took our details, everything, and she ran the check, and she was like, because of our visa status, that we would not be able to get a lender that will borrow us money. That even if we are fortunate to get a lender, they'll
Yeah.
probably ask us to put forward 20%. I'm like, 20% is a lot of money. Where do I want to see 20%? And it was becoming an issue. We were going back and forth. I just woke up one day and I told my wife, let's leave it. Let's forget about it until we change our status, probably until we change our visas and everything. My wife, being my wife, she's a sanguine, very inquisitive. She was like, okay, no problem, that she has said. But she won't stop checking for houses online. She carried on looking for houses. But she would not tell me that she has seen something. She would see a property somewhere, she will go and view it. She will come back. She will not say anything. But in my mind, I'd zero my mind from buying anything, from buying property. But we kept on saving. We did not spend our money. We kept on saving. And I remember that the Easter of that year, we went to the same family friend, that brother that got a house. We went to their house in Gloucester and we started talking. And he asked me one question, like, he was like, what's up? What's the update about
Buying
the
property.
property? And
Yeah.
I explained to him that this is the challenge, this is everything. And we've we've changed our mind on buying it. And he was like, why don't you try another mortgage advisor? Because our situations were similar and they were able to do it. And I was like, okay. And he gave me their own mortgage advisor. He gave me his detail, and we called him, and he was like, no, it's possible, we can do it, blah blah blah. And that's ignited the fire. That's ignited the fire again, and we started hunting for a house again. We sent all our documents, all our papers to the new advisor, and he was like, oh, it's perfect, it's possible. And he started running the numbers, and before we knew it, within a week or two, we got an agreement in principle. Even though, as at that point, we did not have all the money and we have not seen a property that we want. But he has told us that this is the amount of money we can get from the bank. And this is what we need to put forward if we are buying a property within that price range. So we were like, okay, no problem. We should give us some time. And my wife, she carried on looking for houses. And there was a day she just called me up,
The
like, oh, there's a
range.
property somewhere. We should go
Yeah.
and check it. And we got to the environment. I kind of like it. We got to the streets. I'm like, this is nice. Because we came around October to view the property. And when we got into the house, like, this house is really, really nice. I love it. But the house was a bit expensive and the sellers would not negotiate. They were like, no, that's the best price they can give. They're not willing to negotiate. Well, we got back home and I couldn't sleep. You know, whenever I try to sleep, I keep thinking about the property. Like, no, I love this house. I love this house. I love this house. I just woke up one day and I told my wife, like, I'll send a mail to them that we are buying it. And she was like, are you crazy? Where do you want to see? Where do you want to see the money? Because from everything we have, we are still probably maybe like 15,000 away from the total value, from the total amount of money we would need, plus the land use charge, paperwork and everything. And she was like, are you sure you're all right? Where do you want to see the money? I'm like, let's just give it a push. Let's give it a push. And because in my mind, I'm like, at the moment, we have more than 50%. So why don't we give it a try? And
Paperworks.
fortunately,
Yeah.
God has a way of doing his own thing. When we started, we told our solicitor then that, oh, this is our situation. And I mean, we told the agents that this is our situation. And she was like, oh, no
Mm.
problem, no problem. That they will talk to the sellers, and the sellers were like, they are not willing to negotiate. However, if we want to buy the property, they are happy. They are happy to sell it to us, but they are not ready to leave the house now because they have not seen a
Yeah.
place where they want. You see how God works, and everything was in October, so they did not move out of the house until the following year. Yeah, and that gave us time to save up more money and raise the balance. In fact, they did not leave. They did not leave the
Imagine
house until, I think they did not leave until May following year. So imagine we had told them we are not
until the
buying.
following year.
So we've lost that grace of
Ample time
almost
to, yeah, make time.
7 or
Yeah.
8 months to save up money to buy the property. They were like, so we started saving, and by February, I think we've had 10%, but we have not gotten the 5,000 plus that we need to pay for the paperwork and solicitor and all those things. So we called the solicitor again. I mean the agent again. That what's going on? These people, they've gone quiet, so we've not heard anything. And she was like, "Really? Let me call them." And she called them, and they were like, "Now we are ready to buy. We are ready to move out. We've gotten a place we would buy. They would buy because it's more like a chain because they are going to buy somewhere else." And we started the paperwork. Then we got a solicitor, and we thought the solicitor would ask us to pay upfront, but they were like, "No, you're not going to pay anything until everything goes through." Done. And that gave us more time.
Wow.
So that was how we did it. And we started pulling resources together, and at the end of it, everything worked out. So for me, I always feel that so far you're halfway there. Just give it the last push.
Here.
You really can't tell what would happen or what would come out of it. Because imagine we had said we are not doing it again. We would have spent that saving we thought we have, we would have spent it on something else. One responsibility would have showed up then. You need to spend money on it. And we thank God we did it. It was good. I mean, you've been to the house. We didn't have to do anything in the house. All we have to do is clear the garden and we move it to the house. And one thing that really encouraged us was we lived on a flat. We lived in a flat on the high street in Bangor at some point. And we were paying almost 1.2 for the house. Everybody we spoke to then was like,
that's amazing.
"This house is too expensive and it's not even the best. Why are you paying that much?" And people did not believe we were paying that much until I showed them the direct debits going out from the account. And this is what we are paying. And they were like, and that's that figure in my mind. I told myself that if you could afford to pay this much for a house, then if your mortgage is around this price range, then you'll be able to meet up then. So there is no point getting scared that you miss payments or you won't be able to afford it. And we explained this to our advisor then that this is the situation and we don't want to pay above this. That even if you are going to pay above this, it shouldn't be more than maybe £100 above it. And he was like, "No, this is all right. You can get something nice with this." And at the moment, what we are paying is almost the same thing we were paying when we were renting. Every other thing. No, by the time we had the council tax is a bit much. But by the time we had it, the overhead we were spending in that house plus the overhead we are spending in our own house now,
including your
probably
tax,
maybe
every other thing,
£100 different.
Utility,
and
the
you're
council
in your
tax.
home place. You can do whatsoever you like. There is no fear of my daughter is writing on the door or the wall. Oh, the landlord will complain. Oh, I cannot hang my picture because I don't want to make a hole on the wall, so the landlord doesn't go mad at me. But
That's
it's your
beautiful.
house. You can wake up and decide to repaint and to do all those things.
Your own house.
I know people have different opinion about buying a property. Some people would say it's not a good investment. At the end of 30 years, you would have paid so much. But one thing I keep telling myself is, if you think it's not a good investment, you're entitled to your own opinion. And if I think it's a good investment, I'm entitled to my own opinion. But one thing that would not change is you have to live somewhere. And wherever you're living, you have to pay for it. So imagine you're paying for a place that it's not yours and you've paid for 20 years. Calculate the total amount. So now imagine that's 20 years you've invested in something that is not yours. Imagine you're investing it in your own. Even if you're not making so much, the self-fulfillment alone is okay for me because you have to live somewhere and you cannot live in a place for free the way this country is. The only place you can live for free is probably your father's house or your own house. So why are you investing in another person's for 20 years, for 10 years? Why not invest in your own self for that period of time? And property would appreciate. Okay, I mean, property would appreciate. You will get something out of it, even if you choose to sell later on. But if you are living, yeah, but if you're living a rented property, you are getting zero. Like you are going empty-handed. You are not getting anything. We don't know how that works. But if I'm to look at it in my own layman's opinion, it might be a bit difficult because at that point you are high risk. Because the lenders would evaluate your situation. They might think, oh, what if he doesn't stay? What if he moves back to his country or he moves somewhere else? But for someone who has a work visa, at least they know you're here for the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Well,
5 years.
one thing I would say is
so in a way of wrapping up,
it's very
we've really
tough
had a great time today.
in a strange
So
place.
in a way of wrapping up, what would you tell someone who might just be coming into the UK
again, and it's possible you're
what would you
starting
tell
from the
somebody
ground?
who
Even you would have
might
to start
just
from the
be
ground.
starting off?
It's only the 1% of the 1%
What would be your advice?
would start from the top. I mean, it's only 1% of the 1% of immigrants that come into a country like this that will get the opportunity to start from the top. So whatsoever you think you are back home, just forget about it. Start from the bottom and work your way up. That's what I would say. And don't follow trend. Don't have your own self-conviction. Don't think, oh, because everybody's doing this, let me join them and do it. Oh, this is what everybody that looks like me in my area is doing. Let me join them and do it. No, don't do that. Have your own self-conviction. Try and break new grounds. Try and join a community, belong to a community. I mean, I'm a member of a community, our own local African and Caribbean community over here, and I have gained a lot. I have learned a lot from that community. If any help is coming to the area where you live, or probably your council, your county, wherever you live, the help will not come to individual. The help will come through local communities. And if you are not part of those local community, you would not benefit from it. That's just my token for everybody. Believe in yourself. It will be tough. Don't give up. Keep trying. But what I've said earlier, just hold on to it. Have your own self-conviction. Belong to a local community. Join, maybe it's a community in your church or in your mosque, or probably you have an association. Join one, because if any help is coming from anywhere, it comes through those avenues. And no help will come from the government directly to individual. They will channel you through all those avenues. I'm still doing it by the side, but I'm not doing it fully because of I only do it for friends and my immediate family because of some sort of restriction here and there.
Okay, so looking
I
at
have a lot
where
on
you
the
are
table
right
now.
now,
I have a job.
did you stop your photography or
Is
you're still
time
doing
consuming.
it?
Is
And
extremely
then,
demanding. But by the time all this dust settles, by the time we are more settled, I'll probably go into it fully.
okay.
Because it's something I love to do. It's something I love to do. It's a part of me. I can't let go of it.
Let's see.
I've
When do you
heard
place
that debate
normal photography
a
to
lot of
phones?
times,
Today we have
and I can assure you that
iPhones.
the
People still
traditional
use their
photography,
phones. So
as
do
we
you
know
see
it's not
the
going
normal
anywhere.
traditional photography
The phones will keep evolving.
phasing off
Artificial intelligence will
because
keep
of
evolving.
technology improving
But
on
you need
phone
someone
cameras?
behind those
Where do you see
technology
photography?
for them to function perfectly. If you're a professional photographer anywhere in the world, I know you are worried that AI will take your job away. But the AI will not take your job away. AI will only take your job away if you don't learn how to use AI. Because AI would not sit on its own and come up with pictures. I mean, you will not use AI to photograph your wedding, would you? You will not use AI to photograph your event. Maybe you can use AI to do portraits. You will not use AI to do sports photography. But even if you want to use AI to do all those things, you need someone behind those technology to do it. As for phone cameras, the cameras on the phone, they are getting better, and it's a good thing. It's a fantastic thing. They are tools for you to take pictures. But picture itself, photography itself is not reliant on the device you have. It's a composition of several things. And you need to know all those things. It's a composition of the device you have, the light that is present, your understanding of colors, your understanding of your environment. And when you put all those things together, you get good pictures. But if you have a phone that has fantastic camera, but you don't know how to use those tools, you're as good as having nothing. Photography is not going anywhere. I mean, this thing has happened before. There's nothing new. When photography was moving from analog to digital, it was the same thing. But now, see where we are. It hasn't gone anywhere, and it will never go anywhere. It will always be here. You need someone to preserve those precious memory, those moments. You need someone to keep them for you. And that is what photography is all about.
Great.
I mean, this is
let me
this
ask
is a
you,
very it's a very tricky one.
knowing
You're
what you
putting me
know
on the
now,
spot. But one
with
thing
all
I would
the
have done
experiences you've
differently is
gathered to this
I would have
point, if you were to look
I
back,
would have gone for
what
what
would
I
you say
wanted,
you would have done differently?
in the sense that I always try to balance things. I'm a bit diplomatic. Oh, if you say I cannot have it, and this is what I want, then let me do something else. But why do you have to do something else? Why don't you just do what you want yourself? I don't want to talk like I'm comparing myself with others. I mean, because I know we have different paths in life. Our journeys are quite different. But most of my friends that that we grew up, I mean, that we were in the uni together. Because even unfortunately for me, most of my friends in uni then, they were not even from my department. They were people from faculty of law and everything. They are all magistrates somewhere now. They are all senior. Some of them are a senior colleague in a law firm. Some of them own their law firm now. So if I had done if I had gone for what I actually wanted, then maybe I would be somewhere there. you know. But it could have turned out to be something else. It might not be what we thought it would be. But at least you have that joy. You have that self-fulfillment of doing what you want. So for me, don't be diplomatic. Don't try to please people. What I would have told myself is don't please people. Don't be diplomatic. If this is what you want and you're convinced this is the way, put your all into it and go for it. Oh, thank you. Yeah. You know, everybody keeps saying, oh, that's that.
God
No
just
matter
blessed you
what they
with a
say, they will
baby.
still
How would
refer
this
to others
impact
that will come.
the way you raise your
We'll wait
child?
and see.
And I want to say
But for
congratulations for
me,
that baby that God blessed you with.
one thing I would do differently
So
for my
how
daughter
would
is
this impact
I will
your
instill that
baby and
self-confidence
others
into
that
her.
would come as your
You
children?
know, our culture growing up as Africans, our culture tends to kill that self-confidence one way or the other. It comes in ways that we don't expect. You know, they will tell you that if the elders are talking, you don't have to talk. But if the elders are saying what you don't like, you should be able to tell them like, no, this thing you're saying is not fair. I don't like this. And we tend to kill that self-confidence on the table of culture. Like, this is our culture, this is how we are raised. I'm not saying you should be rude. I'm not saying you should not be respectful. But try and speak up for yourself. When you have to speak up for yourself, try and speak up for yourself. And we can build that confidence by exposing ourselves to some sort of activities. You can build self-confidence by doing sports. You can build self-confidence by speaking in the public, by joining a group or an association that would put you in front and make you speak. So those are the things I would try and expose to my child. I want that self-confidence to be there. Because if you don't have that self-confidence, you cannot speak for yourself. And the way the world is now, it depends on how loud you are. If you are very loud, people will hear you. People will see what you're doing. But if you are not loud, you just, even if you are the best at what you're doing, you just be in that corner and nobody would see you. And in this environment that we find ourselves, you just have to learn to be self-confident and to speak up for yourself. Because you are, as an immigrant, you're at a disadvantage. Let's be frank with ourselves. Everybody will see you as a problem of their country, even if you are not the problem. But if you find yourself in such situation and people are labeling you what you are not, you should be able to speak up for yourself. And if you don't have that self-confidence, you will not be able to talk for yourself. So that's one thing I would advise everybody to just try and put that self-confidence in their child. Tell them, oh, you can do it. You're the best. No one is better than you. You're the best. Just go for it. Just try and encourage them, because that's the only way you can build that self-confidence. And expose them to sporting activities, because that's another way you can build self-confidence. And I don't know, I might be wrong, but from what I've seen, people that do sports, they tend to be very confident about themselves. It might probably be maybe the coaches had spoken those words into them, or maybe their ability gave them that courage to feel, oh, no one is as good as I am. But somehow, they are always self-confident.
Who are
There's
the
this
people who
particular
have
book I
inspired you,
bought
and what books have you been
about
reading
money,
that built who you are today?
and the book has been so insightful, because when we got here, I noticed one thing. I know the economy here is different from what we have back home.
That's
Back
correct.
home, it's more of if you don't have it, if you can't afford it, you can't have it. But over here, you have credits that you can leverage on. But at the same time, if you don't manage it wisely, it can put you in a mess, and you will be there for the rest of your life running this rat race. I'm trying to look for this book, running this rat race and everything. But if you the only way you can get over it is get a book, read about what the economy of the country is. And I've recommended this book to a lot of people. The cover is designed like a credit card. And the book talks about how to manage money in a country like this. The author wrote the book with the UK in mind. And the economy here is a bit similar to the other economies in the developed world. And
That's
coming from
fine.
Africa,
That's
if you want
fine.
to buy a phone, you have to pay for it outrightly. If you want to buy a laptop, you have to pay for it outrightly. But in a country like this, you can get credit for those things. And coupled with credit card and everything, you might think it's free money, but it's not free money. You have to pay for it. And that book talked about how to manage all those things. Knowing what I know now,
Beautiful. Beautiful.
in the next
Beautiful.
2 to 3 years, maybe I'll probably be a director somewhere,
All right. Thank you.
and
So where do we see
I'll
Fola
probably
in the
managing my
next
own
2 to
business.
3 years,
Because
5 years
the
from
truth
now,
is,
knowing what you know now?
the only way you can achieve so much is when you have your own business, or probably you have other streams of income. That's what I think. And you have to develop yourself so much that you can do those things. So for me, in the next 5 to 6 years, maybe I would have bought a business and I'm managing a business here, or probably I'm a director somewhere. So that's what I think. That's what I think for now.
So thank you so much for being with us today. But before we go, just your
So
last word
one
to
thing I would
someone
say
who
is,
has listened
whatsoever you're
to
going
this
through is
episode
not the
from
end
the
of the world.
beginning till now and
Some
have seen your
people have gone
story.
through it,
What would be
and
your
they are
final
out of
word
it.
on this podcast? Just tell us.
You've made terrible mistakes, and mistakes are for you to learn how not to do something. In whatsoever situation you find yourself, try and learn from it. Don't just see it as this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm facing. Because if you don't learn from it, you'll probably come back. You probably find yourself in that situation again. So whatsoever you're going through, you're not the only one going through it. Try and learn from it and try and avoid those mistakes again. And speak up, talk to people. You never can tell. Maybe the person with the solution is right beside you. I think you should have a circle of friends that can tell you the truth. Because no matter how independent you are, you still need someone you can confide in, someone you are accountable to. That no matter how tough it is or how bad things are, you can open your heart to that person. And you know that that person will not judge you. And that person will not spoon feed you. That person will tell you the truth. This is how it is. I think you've messed up here. I think you've done this right. Oh, for you to get out of this, this is what we should do.
Yeah.
There's no need keeping quiet. At the same time, I'm not saying you should announce your problem to the whole world, but you need to have a circle of friends that you can pour your heart to, and they can tell you the truth. God is not going to come down from heaven to help anybody. It's human. It's people around you that God will use to help you. That's just it. Thank you.
On that note, we want to say thank you so much for being on this podcast with us today. And to our listeners who have listened to Fola, I think one thing for me is that I've learned
Thank you
to
so
not
much.
to follow the trend and to find my voice, even in the midst of all the
It's a tough
voices.
one though.
That's my own
My sleep,
takeaway.
everything
Talking
is
with Fola
gone.
today. And I
It's
don't know
a
what
tough
your
one.
own takeaway is. You can drop it in the chat, whatever it is that your takeaway is. But I must say, it has been a wonderful time chatting with you today, Fola. And I look forward to talking to you, maybe about your baby and how you've been able to raise this baby as a first-time dad.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Everything is gone. So maybe that could form another conversation for us. Let me know how you've been managing to raise a first child. But that will be the end of our discussion today. But I want to say a very big thank you for showing up in your busy schedule, and we've really had a great time. And until next time, if you're listening, I want to say we're going to bring other guests who would also inspire you and to come your way next time. This has been the live podcast with me, your host, Manuel, and I see you some other time. Thank you.